Do you struggle in your faith? Let's just be real. Let's just be honest. Do you have doubts? Have you ever had doubts? If you do, then you're in the right place. Let's dive into this episode. All right, welcome back to another episode. It's so great to have you here. You're just wondering, hey, what happened? I was anticipating a certain type of background, as you usually do, the usual set, but here I'm actually essentially in a forest, right? And so I just want to ask your patience. I'm in the process of moving. And so for the next few weeks, this is how the videos are going to look. It's just going to look this way, and it's going to be great. I like it. It's more organic. Let's just think of it as a friendship. Now, there is cars passing just right in front of me. There is a road, so you might hear some noises, and just ignore that. You might hear the birds. I'm not sure, but it's going to be a very nice environment. I'm just going to really enjoy having this conversation with you. What do you do when you struggle in your faith? What do you do when you feel like you have doubts? And how does God feel about that? We've been studying for the past few videos on a certain topic, which is having spiritual audacity, having spiritual boldness. And we've been studying that from a word that is chutzpah. Although this word is not in the Bible, we find many people in the Bible who had chutzpah. They had this extreme faith, this bold faith. They were just very audacious. So what do we do when we don't have a spiritual audacity? What do we do when we don't have even just faith, just regular faith? How does God feel about that? I think the best person that we can highlight in this is Jacob. Let's just go into his background. Jacob was a person who believed he should have the inheritance. He believed he should have the birthright blessing. So he decides to do it by tricking his father and just deceive his way into receiving the blessing, and that's what he did. His brother got really upset, wants to kill him, so Jacob flees, and eventually he reaches to where his uncle lives, and he gets married, and he starts to prosper in everything he does. So God just blessed him, and as a result of his blessing, his uncle was also a trickster, and so there was a lot of tension. And after 20 years, I would say, can't recall exactly, don't quote me on that, but after many years, just it's time to leave. God tells him, all right, it's time to go back to Canaan. Jacob then departs. He gets his things ready, his people ready, and they start to travel. And it comes to a point where he understands that Esau is looking for him, and there's 400 men with him. So he fears for his life, for his family's life. So he strategically decides to split them up and better his chances. So he sends one group through one way and another through another way, and then he stays at a mount to just have a better view and just to be ready. But what happened that night was that someone reached towards him, and he thought it was his brother, and he starts to struggle with him. And I just want us to read that real quick, and this is found in Genesis chapter 32, verses 24. Then Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until the breaking of day. Now when he saw that he did not prevail against him, he touched the socket of his hip, and the socket of Jacob's hip was out of joint as he wrestled with him. And he said, "Let me go, for the day breaks." But he said, "I will not let you go unless you bless me." This here is peak chutzpah. Jacob is just saying, I am not going to let you go until you bless me. Now the question is, do you have that same prayer? Do you struggle with that? Are you able to say, God, I'm not letting go until you bless me? So it's incredible to know here that this guy has a spiritual audacity to say to God, I'm struggling here with you. I'm wrestling, but I am not. I mean, my hip is out of place, but I am not going to let you go until you bless me. This is very interesting because, as we talked about earlier, he did not have this type of faith in the beginning. He did not. He did not have the faith that God could just bless him unless he did things in his own way. So what happened here? How did he grow, and what happened? I think this is just beautiful because it's just so relatable that our faith isn't always perfect. That sometimes we struggle. Sometimes we have doubts. We don't always have perfect faith. Let's just get to the point. We don't always fully trust God. So what do we do in this situation? And what I find here, what is just so beautiful, when we're seeing this in the context of the mindset and the culture and just the background in that time, this is what we see. Faith is not blind submission, but faith means to struggle. Let me repeat that, because that's just important for me to understand right now. Faith doesn't mean blind submission. It means to struggle. Now, let me expand on that just a bit. In Hebrew, there's a word that is she'ela. And what this word means is to ask or to question. Now, there's something very beautiful about this, because she'ela, that part almost sounds like the name of God, which is Elohim. Now, take this with a grain of salt, because the etymology of this word is not really correlated with the name of God. It's not connected. Yet, in a Hebrew way of thinking, this is a poetic way to connect with God, because it rhymes with his name. It's somehow connected with his name. So poetically, in the word to question, she'ela, we find the name of God. And I just like this, and it's just so beautiful to share. And the reason why is because God is in the question. God is in the struggle. God is when we ask. So, in other words, within the doubts, within the struggles that we have in our faith, God is there. And I just find that so incredible. That's just incredibly beautiful. Now, again, what we're seeing here is that God is not limited by our doubts. Friend, God welcomes your doubt. If you have doubts, he welcomes it. And not just that, he's not limited by it. God is not limited by your doubts. Our doubts, or despite our doubts, can still allow us to be drawn closer to God. So remember what Matthew 7:7 says, ask and it shall be given unto you. Seek and you shall find. Knock and it shall be open. But I just want to continue reading. We were reading chapter 32, and we read from verse 24 to 26. But just let me read verse 27, 28. And he said to him, God said to him, what is your name? He said, Jacob. And he said, your name shall no longer be called Jacob, but Israel, for you have struggled with God and with men and have prevailed. I just wanted to pause on that. This is the center here of this whole episode, of this whole conversation that we're having. That God asks him, what is your name? He says, Jacob. All right. Your name now is no longer Jacob, but it is now Israel. And what is the meaning of Israel? To struggle with God, yet to prevail. I don't know if you need anything more clear than that. God welcomes our doubts. God welcomes our struggles, yet His love is so great that he's not limited by our doubts. If we have doubts, that's not going to stop him. So I just want to put all of this into a nutshell. Number one, God welcomes our struggle. Okay? So wrestling with God in prayer, wrestling with God in doubt, wrestling with God in faith is part of spiritual growth. Okay, so number one, God welcomes our struggle. Number two is that persistence leads to transformation. So Jacob, he just held on to God in the same way we have to learn to hold on to God even in hardship until he changes us, until he changes that circumstance. And number three, real strength comes in surrender. Jacob won by not letting go. He didn't have the upper hand, really. It's just that he just did not let go. And showing that dependence on God brought that true victory. So I just want to close this off by saying that you can make that same prayer today. Even if you struggle with your faith, even if you have doubts, hold on to God and say, I won't let go until you renew my heart and set me on fire for you. God, I won't let go until you work that healing in my life, until you work the healing in the life of that loved one. God, I won't let go until I see your hand move. I won't stop praying. I won't stop just coming to you and asking and asking and asking until I see your provision. I will keep asking. I won't let go until the right doors open. I won't let go until that family member returns to you. I won't let go until you bless me. So friend, don't let go. Even if you struggle, just know that God is so good and so loving that he's not limited by your doubts. In fact, what he does is invite us to grow spiritually, and we do this by struggling. To struggle, yet prevail. Thanks for joining. Next week, we'll do one more, and we'll close off this beautiful series on chutzpah. And if you have anything that you would like for me to bring up, then please share it in the comment section. Thank you for joining. See you next time.